Hey, everybody. Welcome to Making Connections. This is your girl, Aly. I hope everybody's having a great day. I had to move around for a second, so everything got pushed around. But anyway, you guys know we are here every Saturday at 12 noon and every Monday at 2 p.m., bringing you inspiration and resources. And so I just want to remind you guys that, this is the celebration of MLK Day is Monday, but there's lots of events also happening throughout the weekend. And so one event is happening in York, South Carolina, downtown today at 1 o'clock. The NAACP is having a MLK parade. Again, that's downtown York. We know they also had an event on Friday, and Lenore Ryan is having their breakfast Monday, 7 a.m. The breakfast starts, and then the program starts at 8:30, and then I think they usually end with a march to one of the neighborhood libraries. So a lot of things going on. If you missed any of the flyers, contact information, there's a food giveaway in Rock Hill, South Carolina today from 12 to 3 at Mount Olivet Church. And so all those flyers you can find in the Facebook group. So y'all know there's always stuff going on. Mr. Excitement, DJ Bless, they keep you with events happening. So, there's a brunch every Sunday from 12 to 4. Lady Z's having a concert. The Stanley Avengers are having a cleanup day, January 28th. And then they're doing their Black History program February 19th. So again, I know it's a lot of stuff going on. So if you missed any contact information, you can just check our Facebook group and all the flyers will be there. And so I'm excited today to bring to you all someone new to the Making Connections family, and that's Leah M. Forney. Woo woo! How you doing today?
I'm good, girl. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. What you been up to?
Listen, what haven't I been up to is the question.
That is the question.
'Cause, I'm booked and busy over here, but I will not complain. So,
Amen. That's what we was desiring, right?
hmm
So Leah, just give you opportunity since it's your first time. I know you are the host of the Hey Queen Thrive podcast, and you were just telling us that today is your 2-year anniversary. Congratulations.
yes,
I love it. Listen,
thank you.
because people don't know behind the scenes what it takes to make this stuff happen, right?
Oh, listen, listen. It
She's
is
so nice.
a whole lot of work. And that's why I always tell people when they come to me about podcasting, consistency is key. Like, do not get into this industry if you are not going to be committed and you're not going to be consistent, because you will be wasting not only your time, but your listeners' time.
True, very true, very true. So, just give you opportunity before we jump into more about what that looks like, just to tell the family a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Leah M. Forney. If this is the first time you ever heard my voice, I'm your visibility activator and podcast cultivator. I work with individuals, basically teaching them how to increase their visibility, leverage their expertise, grow their podcast, and make money doing the things they love to do. And so I'm also an 8-time published author. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a sexual assault advocate and activist. And if I'm not wearing all of those hats, I'm just a woman of God that just loves the Lord, loves his people, and loves just hanging out and being her unapologetic self.
Yes, that's all she does. That's it. That's it.
Right.
But let's talk about that because we were just talking about that too. The fact that being a woman of God,
Mm-hmm.
and how sometimes we like to help people. We like to be in the service of Him and His people. But then we be like, well, can we just be in the background and do it?
Right, right.
But sometimes He don't let you be in the background, does He?
No.
So how did you overcome that and just be like, okay, Lord, I hear you. I'm gonna go ahead and just branch out and do it.
Girl, I'm still overcoming that. I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm still overcoming that. I think I have that conversation with him at least once a week where I'm just like, can I just do me? Do what you want me to do, but don't nobody know my name. And he's like, no, because I didn't call you to that. I called you to the forefront. I told you that the greater works is what you were going to do. And so I have to trust that if he's having me out in the spotlight, it's because he wants me to shine my light so many other people who are feeling hopeless or feeling like they can't make it or feeling like they can't overcome anything has a tangible reference that they're looking at someone who's been through hell and back and still made it. So yeah, but it's rough because I personally would love to do what I do and don't nobody know my name, but God keeps telling me no. So every day I'm like, all right, give me the strength to get, to stand in front of your people today. Give me the strength to, do what it is that you're calling me to do. And so for me, it's a daily surrendering, a daily choosing to be obedient, because I do know obedience is better than sacrifice. But I will say I haven't always been obedient, because delayed
Right.
obedience is disobedience. Sometimes I've been like, God be like, give me a yes. And I'm like, let me think about that real quick. And I'm going to get back to you. But
How
every
about
day, I'm like, all right, God, your will be done.
mm, whew, well, I'm in work in progress as well.
Listen, we all are.
Listen, and I think that's what it is. I mean, people, I think sometimes people see what's the cliche? They see your glory, but they don't know the
Hmm.
story, you
Yeah.
know? And so, even though you've done all these things already, there was a sacrifice that had to be made, and there was a, like you said, just sheer obedience.
Yeah.
Because just like in the Bible, I can't remember. I hate when I try to quote scripture and I'd be like, I don't remember the man's name, but he told him to go out and he didn't even know where he was going, but he just
Yeah.
like go until I tell you to stop.
Stop.
Keep
Yeah.
going until I get you to that place where I desire for you to be. And so that's what it really is. And this show is about, making those connections with, those resources, the mindset that it takes, the
Hmm.
obedience, the discipline that it takes, to really get in that place. But when you started being obedient,
Hmm.
how was the flow? Like, did you have less sleepless nights because you was arguing with the Lord, or what was that?
Yeah, no. I did not have less sleepless nights. I tell people all the time, like I think if Jesus would give people privy to our conversations, he would be like, this girl right here, like she stresses me out. Because I'm always questioning. Like and people always say you shouldn't question God. And I'm like, no, I ask clarifying questions. Like how
Right.
like you say go where? And I think that's the humanity in us is that we like directions. We like details. We like, oh, okay, so if I go here, that means I'm gonna have to face this. And we serve a
Mm.
God that doesn't give that many details. He just be like, go. And you're like, north, south, east, west, like which direction am I going? And he's just like, no, just keep going and I'll tell you where to go. But what he doesn't tell you is that on the road to going, you're going to face adversity. You're going to face challenges. You're going to face things that really are designed because I think the trick of the enemy is to make us believe that when we face adversity and challenges, it's God's way of punishing us. But really, it's God's way of growing and developing you because there's a muscle that needs to be strengthened in you to prepare you for where he's taking you. And so
Mm.
sometimes that muscle looks like I need to get your attitude together. Sometimes that muscle looks like I need to teach you how to talk to people because you don't really know how to talk to people. And I can't put you in a leadership role and you don't know how to talk to people. Like sometimes that looks like I need to heal you from the inside out,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Because you're carrying some trauma, you're carrying some baggage, you're carrying some things that are weighing you down. You're carrying some people, because let's be honest, like some of us carry the weight that other people have put stowed on us. So sometimes obedience really does look like I need to allow God to do his work and do it while he's directing me to where I need to go. Because I think sometimes we think, okay, God says this is healing season. That means I don't get to do nothing. No, no. You still got to show up. You
Wrong.
you still got to do what he's calling you to do, but
Yeah.
he's going to heal you in the midst of you doing those things. So it's kind of like it's interchangeable. You can't stop and lose momentum because God's like, "Oh, I'm healing you." Yeah, he's going to heal you while you work. That's why the Bible tells us faith without work is dead. Like you can have faith all day, but there's still
Right.
a tangible thing that you have to do, even if that just means, oh, I need to study my craft. I need to learn more about my industry. I need to perfect what it is that I'm doing. Like you still got to be obedient to the call that he's placed on your life.
Hmm. And that's so true about, still moving while you're healing. I mean, just think about it. If you have a broken bone, yeah, you might lay around for a couple days, but you're not going to lay around for months. You either going to
Right.
get on some crutches, you're going to get a wheelchair, you're going to get something so that you can still get other things done,
Yeah.
So you still going to be moving while you're still in the cast, while you're still taking your meds, but you're still going to be
Hmm.
doing stuff. So, yeah, I feel you on that one. Whew, but listen, so when did you write your first book?
That story is always funny. I swear. So I wrote and published my first book April 1st, 2017. Um, Definitely wasn't my decision. I tell people all the time. It was funny because God revealed to me in 20 coming out of 2015 going into 2016 that I was going to write a book. And I remember when he said it to me, I was like, "We writing a book, and what we
She
what
said,
we writing about?" Like I tell people I'm that Christian that listen, if it don't make sense to me, I'm questioning him. I'm asking the clarifying question. So I was
right.
like, write a book about what, first of all? Two, who's reading this book? Like, I'm just trying to figure out why are you telling me that I need to write this book? And so he was like, well, you're going to write a book about your life. And I'm like, yeah, that's broad. I'm going to need you to narrow that thing down, like specifically, what
Talking
are we
about like
talking
when I
about?
learned to ride a tricycle,
Right, like
I say, what are you
specifically.
talking about?
Like I need you to be real specific, Lord. And he was just like, no, about your mother-daughter relationship. And I was like, wait, out
Mm,
of all the things we could
mm,
talk about, why we gotta talk about this one? So I fought him for a very long time. I was just like, I don't necessarily. And then I was like, all right, I'm
oh,
just gonna be obedient. We're gonna go with it. And so my first book, Unapologetically Me, is really me telling the story of the battle, the internal battle I had with loving and hating a mother who was addicted to drugs.
mm,
And so it was me shining the light on that really complicated mother daughter relationship in a way that I had never really seen by telling my truth. I absolutely love my mom, but she was a drug addict my entire life. And so I watched how addiction destroyed her life and
mm,
ultimately destroyed, my family and my siblings and all the things that we had to go through. And I struggled. It was like, how do you love the person that gives you life, but at the same time, you can't stand her. You're struggling. So in that book, I talk about a 1 year in my life where God literally was like, I need you to go get your mother. I got a phone call, and basically the doctor was like, if you don't come get your mother, she's gonna be dead. And the little girl in me is like, oh, that's mommy. I gotta go rescue her. The weight
okay,
of that little. So I mean, literally, I was like, all right, God, if it is your will that I go get her, you got to make the provision, because I literally didn't have no money. I know I was going to get there. And when I tell you within 24 hours, he had the money, he had the gas in the tank, I had a place to stay. Like he lined
wow,
that whole thing up. And so I went to go get her, and I brought her back to North Carolina because that's where I was at the time. And for that 1 year, it was literally as if God was holding up a mirror to me. And he wanted me to see that if I didn't do my work, I could easily become like my mother. And for the first time in that year, it was like I could love you from a distance, because as long as she was on the street, it was like, all right, she's my mom, I love her. But
right,
it was something about the closeness, the proximity, the we were right there, that I'm like, ooh, I now gotta face this woman. I gotta come face to face every single day with the woman that abandoned me, that rejected me, and I struggle. I mean, every emotion that I felt, oh boy, did I feel it. And I said it. Like it was the roughest year of my life, but in that year, God brought me so much closure, because it was the first time that I was able to have a conversation with my mom and ask her why. Why
Mhm.
did you end up on drugs? Why did you take that path? Only to discover that my mom had been sexually assaulted. And so she didn't know how to deal with it. She didn't feel protected. So she ran to drugs. And what was so ironic and so crazy about that time was that a year prior to she coming in the picture, I was sexually assaulted. So
Oh
here
wow.
I am having this
Oh wow.
conversation, and I remember telling my mom that I too was sexually assaulted, and she broke down crying. And she was so distraught because she was like, I never wanted that for my daughters. I wanted to protect them. And I remember saying, Mom, how can you protect me when nobody was there to protect you when it was you? You don't even know what that looks like because you didn't experience it. And so,
Right.
even though in that year she still made the choice to go back to doing drugs, I knew that God was using that moment to begin the healing journey and to help me to understand that my mother was just like me. She was just another woman trying to navigate this thing called life with the
Mhm.
lack of tools that she had. And so when I wrote Unapologetically Me, I wanted to share that journey, that struggle of how do you love the person that gave you life, but still dislike their choices. And I tell you, it's still one of my best selling books to this day because so many women identify with it. I've had so many women
Yeah.
be like, you just wrote my life. and and again, the trick of the enemy is to make you believe that you're alone. Because when I wrote that book, I was like, don't nobody get this. Don't nobody understand this complexity. And then I wrote the book. And then I had so many people like, oh no, I understand this because this is my
Mhm.
life. So
Mhm.
I learned that I wasn't alone in that struggle. I learned that my feelings was absolutely valid and that even with the struggle, like I also learned that I could see my mom different. That I could see that she was just another woman that with the lack of tools or the little bit of tools, just trying to figure this thing out.
Exactly. uh, Trying to figure it out, and young herself, experience you've never experienced before, and people who have never experienced it, you know, their questions are, why didn't you tell, or why didn't you do it? But you
Yeah.
never really know, again, all the things that are going on behind the scenes. Sometimes there's threats taking place, you're embarrassed. It's so many things that, and so, yeah, you writing that story, it probably was somebody's first time saying, whew, this person
Yeah.
sees me. This person gets it. This person knows how I feel, and so, mm. So I've heard people talk about when they're trying to write, that
Mhm.
they're like, well, I don't wanna write because, I mean, if I tell my story, like you with your mom, I'm telling somebody else's story.
Mhm.
And so I've heard a lot of people be like, "I just can't do it because that's not my place." So what would you
Mm.
tell somebody who's coming to you? They wanna write a book about their life, but they're like, "But there's gonna be certain details where people are gonna realize it's somebody else." So what's your advice on that?
Yeah, so it's funny because when I used to be a book writing coach, one of the things that I used to always stress is the importance of telling the story based on your experience. So it's
Mm,
not so much telling somebody else's story, it's telling your story, but how it made you feel. So always keeping in mind that it's about you and what you experience.
got it.
Are people going to feel some type of way? Yes, because when I told the story about me and my mom, my family felt some type of way. And but again, my response to them was that's my experience. And so one thing we have to be very careful with is letting people invalidate your experience.
Mm,
I tell people all the time, if you don't like how I've experienced you, change the way I experience you, right? Because I can only have the experience that you allow me to have based on who you are. And so the same thing goes with our truth. And that's the reason why I believe the enemy, especially with women, puts that guilt and shame that keeps us from telling our story because he wants us to feel invalidated in our story. And the truth of the matter is, it's your story, it's your truth. Stand on it, and understand that, yeah, it might be mirrored for somebody else. Somebody might read it and be like, oh my God, that's me. And that's a good thing. Like, you want people to see themselves in your journey, and it also
mm.
makes you relatable because I think one of the disservices to social media is people see highlights. They think that every time they see somebody posting, life is great. And what I share, even with my clients, is share the struggles. Like, it is okay to be like, you know what, I'm really trying to figure this out. like,
Right,
like
right.
the math is not mathing, life is lifing, but I'm gonna figure this out. Like, and because again, it makes you relatable. We be trying to be like, "Ooh, let me show up and look pretty and proper and got it all together." When the truth of the matter is, you ain't got it all together. Because if you did, you'd be further along in life and in business. So you're still trying to figure it out like the next person, and people want to see
Yes.
that.
Because, a lot of times, like you're even saying, like, even, when we were getting to know each other, and it hasn't been long, but, I was like, oh my gosh, she's got 4,500 downloads to her, her podcast, and I've been doing this for 25 years, and da 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 da. I was feeling some kind of way, but through the journey, and you sharing your stories, and you sharing how this works, and you teaching us, okay, these are the things you need to look for. Are you on the right platform? Are you in
Hmm.
front of the right audience, and all those kind of things? So you're right. First, you're like kind of intimidated because you see people and you think, again, life is grand. But
Hmm.
even if life is grand, it wasn't always that way.
Nope.
They worked towards it, they build towards it. But even when you get in a good place, you have to maintain that
Yes.
and keep growing. And so to keep growing, you're going to keep experiencing things. You're
Hmm.
going to keep experiencing first. You're going to keep experiencing, okay, well, now I need a true graphic designer. And
Hmm.
this person is not really helping me out. Da, da, da. So it's always going to be an experience, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. There's levels to it. I always tell people that there's levels to it, and every level you go up, there's something new you have to learn. I this is why I tell people to reframe what you say and what you think about adversity, about struggle, around loss. Like I was telling one of my best friends, I was like, is it really a loss, or did the season end? Because for me, losses is only when I did not learn what it was designed to teach me. If I went through a difficult season in my life and I came out the same way I went in, then it's a loss. But if I came out better, if I came out wiser, if I came out with a little more strength, if I came out a little more developed, then it's not a loss. The
Mm,
season is up. And that's okay, because I think that we think we're supposed to be with the same people doing the same thing, and people get accustomed to that. When I shifted out of book writing, oh my God, people was like, what do you mean this is the last book? What do you mean you're not writing no more book? Because you're accustomed to that. But I was in a season where God was like, it's time. You've done this, you've put out 8 books, you did what I told you to do in that space. It's now time to shift. It's time to move
mm,
on to the next thing. And so people will try to hold you to that space. But you have to be okay with where God has placed you in the season that He's placed you in. And you have to be willing to stand flat footed, 10 tones down, and say, that's just not the space I'm in anymore. And that's okay. Like, that is what growth and development will do. It will cause you to discover other things about you because you're
yeah,
multifaceted,
yeah,
and it will cause you to be like, all right, it's time to pivot. I mean, that's how we get 6 million, 6-figure business owners. That's how we get major corporations, because they tried something, it worked for a minute, then they realize, okay, that ain't working no more. Time to shift, time to do something different.
right. And that is a good point because we think, like, I mean, let's just take Coke for example. How many times have they changed they packaging, changed the taste? We got this, and they come right back to their little red and white can. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or either they's like, okay, so now we're people are more on a health journey. So if we want to stay, you know, reputable and serve our industry, then we have to come up with Coke Zero. So
Yeah.
again, I think because we're on a small level and we feel like, oh my gosh, this didn't work. I mean, we forget that it's the same process for everybody. You know how people say, well, that
Everybody.
person puts their pants on just like I do, one leg at a time. So every business,
Hmm.
grows the same way, trial and error, again, doing that research, finding out what your audience or your clients need, or the people who you want to service, finding out really what they need, and then tweaking it, because you got what they need already, but you just got to tweak it to how they can accept it or receive it. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, yeah. It's just really figuring out how your people learn. You know, that's one of the questions I always ask when I do discovery calls with people. How do you learn? Right? Are you the type of person that can do it by yourself? Because if that's the case, I know that I have a do it yourself program. Are you the type of person that needs somebody to go step by step with you? Cool. Then I know I need to offer you one of my coaching programs. Are you the type of person that likes to be amongst a group of people? Okay, cool. Then I know I need to put you in a group coaching program. So that is why our role as business owners is to have something on each level, because everybody don't learn the same way.
Mm,
Everybody does not digest information the same way. You know, I pride myself on being able to simplify processes for people because, again, people hear words like visibility and immediately their mind goes to, oh, I want to get on somebody's podcast. That's part of it. Like, PR is part of it. I'm never going to tell people not to get media attention, but what I am going to tell you is you need to know who your audience is. You need to know your message. You need to know all these other moving parts
mm,
first, so that when you show up, now you are polished and you're sounding like you want to sound and you're attracting your people. That's one of the reasons why I teach it the way I teach it. Because again, we get comfortable with, oh, let me show up on Facebook. Well, are your people on Facebook? Because if you know who you targeting, that helps you to determine, are they on Facebook? Because some
right.
of us show up on Facebook looking for Fortune 500 people. Well, guess where they hang out at? LinkedIn, Twitter. So you
Right.
posting on Facebook and you're like, I'm not getting no traction. I'm not getting no engagement. I'm frustrated. I quit. Well, no, maybe you just need to switch your platform because you're showing up in a place, in a space that your people ain't there. And that's why they not responding.
Right. And that's a simple thing, but we don't think about that. We just think, well, if I'm not successful on Facebook, then what's the difference Instagram going to make? I mean, posting the same thing. So if I'm not successful here, why should I try another platform? But like you
Yeah.
said, I mean, let's just say maybe even for the older generation, they might be on Facebook, but they don't be on Facebook like at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, like young people do. They get on there in the morning, check something, and then they gone. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you really have to know and do that research, like you said, to find out, like you've been telling us, what time of day, even when
Hmm.
you find your platform, what time of day should you be posting? What kinds of things should you be posting? So,
Yeah.
it takes a minute, but once you figure that out, then you're on the upward swing and you know what to do and when to do it. And but then, like you said earlier, that consistency comes in.
Yeah, and I think that people confuse consistency and frequency. Like, I think when people hear you say, "Oh, be consistent," they're like, "Oh God, I got to show up a lot." No,
Yeah,
consistency
that's what I
means
was
you just
thinking.
got to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Frequency is how often you do it. So when I
Mm,
tell people be consistent, what I'm saying is keep doing it. Like, you can't post something one time and say, "Oh, I'm having a sale," and think that 1,500 of your people saw the post about the sale. They didn't, because algorithms either gonna work in your favor or it's gonna work against you, right? So you
mm,
gotta keep posting it and keep posting it and keep posting it. Try different times of days, try different platforms, try different ways to post. That's why I always say knowing your audience is key. Because when you
mhm,
know, like, you need to know them like you know your spouse. When you know them, you know, oh, okay, my people are visual. So I need to make sure I got some graphics. I need to make sure I got some little video snippets.
mm.
Like, I know that about my people. They visual because I'm visual. So if I try to drop anything audio, they like, well, I'm not clicking on that and listening to that. And I'm like, I'm time for that. But if I drop a video, I guarantee you, they're gonna be like, click, let me watch this video. Because they're
Mhm.
visual people. That's why knowing your people is so important, because then you know all the other parts. What type of content to create for them, how to create it for them, what do they actually want to know. That's the other thing. We like to put out stuff that we think people want to know. Just because you know it don't mean they care to know it. That's why I always tell people the best people that can give you the answers to those things are your people. Ask them. Before I've ever created any product or service, I spend a couple of weeks researching. I research two things: the current market,
Mhm.
what's currently out there, and then I ask my people, hey, you know what? I got this idea, y'all. And I'm thinking that I want to offer a course. If I was to offer a course, what are some
Mhm.
things that you want to know? And then let them tell me. Because when they tell me, there goes the modules to my course. Like we make this thing so complicated.
That's good. And even the frequency and consistency. I mean, that breakdown is that even helped me because I was like, because that is my first thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, consistency. That means it's like 5 times a day. Da da da
Nope.
da. No,
Nope.
just at
Nope.
least make sure you're showing up every day. It doesn't mean you have to show up 5 times a day, but you show up
Mm-mm.
every day. And we can schedule things, and it doesn't mean. And then too, when you're talking about your videos, people are going to click on it because now they know you as well. And we know that when you do a video, you're going to come in, you're going to hit it and quit it. You're going to
That's
give us
it.
the details. We're not going to spend 2 hours trying to figure out what you're getting to. I mean, honey, when she put out a video, she, she not trying to waste her time either. She's like, I'm gonna give them this information because I got something else I need to work on. And so when you click on that video, you're gonna get the details, and then
And
you
that's
can go on
it.
with your day.
And but again, that's took me learning my people because I
Mm,
know my people got short attention spans. They're not going to sit for 30 minutes. Even in my course, I keep it less than 30 minutes. And every time I tell a potential customer that, they're like, "Oh my god, you are awesome," because ain't nobody got time to be sitting for 30. No, I'm gonna give you the
right.
meat and potatoes. I'm gonna get you what you need to know so you can take the next step. I don't have time because again, I learn the same way you guys learn. So because I know that when I'm creating something, we don't got time to be sitting here going through long intros and all. Nope. I'm gonna get straight to the point. This is what we're here to talk about. Here the 10 tips. Take these steps. Boom. See you in the next module.
And that is so cool because ooh, when people be sitting there talking about, we gonna wait and come on in. I mean, well, you should have started the video 2 minutes later. I mean, I mean, what we waiting on?
Mm-mm,
And it's a
mm-mm.
whole replay we can do. Let's go ahead and they can come back. We here right now.
Right.
Let's roll.
And that is exactly what I say to my clients. Like, don't be sitting here, oh, I'm gonna give a few more seconds. No, get to talking. Because first of all, I think that's the other misconception that if you're not getting people tuning in live, then you're not doing anything. The power's in the replay. You know how many people go back and watch something? Like,
Right.
just you might have tagged them to join you live. They might be caught up in something, but I guarantee you, if you go back and look at your numbers, how many people didn't watch the replay? Because
Right.
everybody don't got time to stop because you live at 12 noon. Like 12 noon is lunch hour for some people. 12 noon, they might be in a meeting, but they
Yeah.
going to go back and watch the replay. That's why in all my videos, I always say, if you catch the replay, hashtag replay. Because
Hmm.
that helps me to see, oh, this is how many people are watching the replay versus how many people are showing up live. and
Yep.
that's and that's people. Again, we overcomplicate it because we want, oh, why don't I have 100 people watching me live? Because you don't have 100 people watching you live. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It just
Right.
means that people are not available at the time
At
that
that
you're going
time.
live, and that is okay.
Yeah.
You just need to focus on making sure that you're delivering what needs to be delivered and that they're getting what they need to get. So when they watch it at their leisure, you're still reaching your audience, you're still passing on the information, you're still getting the quality that you want to put out.
Absolutely. And then usually, and for me, I'll just speak for me, whenever I go back and watch the replay, it is at a time, because sometimes I might catch it live, but like you said, I might be multitasking. So I hear some things, I miss something. So, but
Hmm.
when I go back to the replay, it's at a time where it's convenient for me, and I know I can watch all the way through, and you can
Yep.
still ask. questions, and then I know you're going to come back and follow up at a later time,
Yep.
but I can still get all my questions answered or get clarity on something you said. And so, listen, I'm learning that as well because I'll be like, don't nobody be coming. I'm quit. I'm not doing this anymore. I'll be doing something else at 12 o'clock, and I'm like, girl, calm down.
Mhm.
But then, like you said, if you go back and you do the research, you be like, or people come up to you, I like that. I was like, when did you watch it? You wasn't
Mhm.
live? And I was like, no, but I watched it on Tuesday. Oh,
Yep.
okay. So it's really that mindset piece,
Mhm.
because we have the mindset that it's got to be live, it's got to be right now. People got to, take our offer right now. Sometimes, they take the offer 6 months later, but what does it matter? If you have the course in place, if you
Yep.
have what they need there, they take it when they need it. And different people take it at different times. So it's always going to be a flow because
Mhm.
different people show up at different times.
Yeah, and even with placing your offer, right? Like if you want somebody to take immediate action, two things have to happen. One, you got to tell them to take immediate action because what I see all the time is people drop links and don't tell them what to do. So what am I supposed to do with this link? Like you have to tell me shop now, sell ends at 10 in 10 minutes. Like people
Yeah,
have a fear of missing out. So urgency is everything. If you want somebody to jump on something today, you need to be like, you got about 15 minutes to click this link because then it's going up. Like urgency is everything. Like
yeah,
think about that. When you know you got about 15 minutes to grab something and it's something you really want, you about to be like, where's my debit card? Let me go get this thing real quick.
right,
But
right.
when you allow people the time to take to think about it, life happens, right? And
Mm-hmm,
then
mm-hmm.
here's the other part. If you don't follow up, like
Uh-oh.
Alicia will tell you, I literally was like, hey girl, hey, I know you said you want this course. Let me just, swing back around it. Like the fortune is really in the follow up. So if you don't take the time to follow up to say, hey, I know you mentioned you wanted to be a part of this, people forget.
They
Like, I
really
don't know
do.
why in people's minds they think that you drop something one time, everybody see it, everybody. No, people forget. Like they lifing. They got a business to run. They got a job. They got 50 million other obligations. You got to keep bringing it back to top of mind. And that is why consistency is always key because people will forget. I can't tell you how many times I promoted something and probably on day 6, it's like, oh, Leah did say she got a course on sale. Let me go get in this course because people
Yeah,
forget.
yeah. And me and my cousin talk about it all the time. It's like the weeks fly by, time flies, and you're like, wait a minute, this is Wednesday already? Okay, yeah, I gotta go do this now because Leah did say, like you said, it ends on Friday. But if I don't click on that it ends on Friday part in my mind, then I just keep going, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get Leah's course next week. But you're right, it's those triggers that be like, okay, but it's Wednesday and she said it ends Friday, so I gotta get it done before Friday. So, it's the little keys like that make such a big difference in
Yeah.
what you're doing and how successful your programs, your products are. So, listen, it's a process, but if you stay
Hmm.
consistent in your learning
Yeah.
and doing the research and connecting with people, like I was like, okay, Leah said she only been doing this 2 years. I'm gonna keep saying that. And she got all these downloads. I'm missing something, so I
Hmm.
need to connect with Leah.
Hmm.
So, it's about making those connections as well.
Yeah.
So, Leah, I want you to hold on because we're going to talk about that, the importance of making connections, the importance of, leveling up and reaching out to people, even though you might feel a little intimidated, but reaching out to those people who have accomplished what you want to do. And
Yeah.
so, if you hold on with us, we are going to listen to a song from the Groovaladas. We know that the Groovaladas is a Grammy nominated band. Marlene, who is a member, also owns Polyphonic Studios. So, if you're somebody making beats at home and you got the talent, but you really need your sound tight, you can reach out to Marlene. And he's also the one who did our theme song. It's time to make a connection. And so we're going to listen to a song by them, and we'll be right back with more with Leah M. Forney, the Visibility Activator.
Yeah, yeah. Come on. I've been looking forward to this time just to sit back and chill, getting things ready all night. I'm about to fire up this grill, build a dance floor in the backyard. You know we're gonna have a good time. Folks arriving with bottles, pots, and pans. Nothing but good vibes, 'cause that's what we planned. When we get together, it's always a good time. When we get together, making memories, always on my mind. Keep your family close, 'cause my family vibe ain't no joke. It's a family affair. Ooh, yeah. You can play spades with cousin Riri, or maybe bid with Uncle Joe, or let the little ones run around. Got to give 'em room to grow. All the old school jams are bumping. Junior's got the system thumping. Anything you need to know, the one to ask is Great Mary Joe. When we get together, it's always a good time. When we get together, making memories, it's always on my mind. 'Cause when we get together, in any kind of weather, we are family. Golden memories of summer days gone by. It's late at night and no one's going home. Just stars and fireflies. When we get together, it's always a good time. When we get together, making memories, always on our minds. When we get together,
So you all were just listening to Get Together by the Groovaladas, and the lead singer on that song was Chops Turner. And so, yeah, they've been putting some stuff together, and I think they got some stuff coming up in 2023. So, again, that's the Groovaladas. You can go to their website, thegroovaladas.com. Again, Chops Turner was the lead on that one. He can be found on all streaming platforms as well as the Groovaladas. And yeah, in the Polyphonic Studios, if you got music that you just need to tighten up and get it ready to produce to the show it to the producers and call Polyphonic Studios. So that's polyphonicstudios.com. And so we are back with Leah M. Forney, and she is the visibility activator. She does a lot of things. If you missed all she did before, you can go back and get the replay. But I definitely want to, I always like to give the guest the opportunity because, you might have an idea about something you want to share that, I don't know. So I want to give
Mhm.
you the opportunity, if there's anything we haven't covered or something we want to talk that you want to talk about, let's do it.
Yeah, so I will say for the month of January, starting today, actually, I'm currently running a sale on my course, Profitable Podcaster. It is in honor of the 2 year anniversary of Hey Queen Thrive. It's crazy to think that I started this journey 2 years ago. So yeah, if you definitely click the link, and I'll make sure that Alicia has it. You can get 60% off between today and January 18th, as a way to say thank you for those who tune into Hey Queen Thrive every week. I mean, I couldn't do what I do without y'all. So we are celebrating, and it's also my birthday month. So I'll also be having
Uh
another
oh,
sale
uh
on my
oh.
course towards the end of the month.
Yes, not the birthday month too. Come on, come on. You know, listen, I started this show my birthday month too. We're in common. I have a lot of things in common. So, are you still with me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Are you- Okay, okay, okay. So yeah, so listen, y'all. If you've ever thought about, doing a podcast, if you want to learn more about it, take this course. You're getting 60% off. That's major. And Leah really is. We talked about before we left making those connections. Getting out of your own way and being like, look, Leah, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I love the concept of this, but I don't really know what I'm doing. So, how
Yeah.
important is it just to get out of your way and make those connections and, level up with somebody who has done what you're doing, what you want to do?
Yeah, I think it's very important. But here's the thing that I say and stress so much about making connections. It's one thing to build a connection, it's another thing to nurture it. And so a lot of
Mhm.
us are really good at building connections and getting connected, but we don't spend time nurturing. So the only time we show up is when we want somebody to buy something. You
Mhm.
cannot be a used car salesman. And we all have experienced used car salesmen where it's that pressure to be like, hurry up and buy. But you ain't spent no time to ask me what kind of car I like, what color the car, nothing. And that's how many of us are in business. We slide into people DMs, hey girl, hey, buy this book. But one, I didn't even know you had a book. Two, when the last time you just said, hey, how are you? How's life?
Right,
Like you
right.
coming to me to buy something. And that's where we go wrong. We don't spend enough time nurturing relationships. So I pride myself on connecting not just with people, but really getting to know you. Like, what is life like? How's everything going? Like me and Alicia have had plenty of conversations where I'm like, girl, you fine? You gonna be like,
Right,
like you need those people that are going to because the message that sends is that I actually care, that it's not so much about money. Like I tell people all the time, money is a great thing, like I love it, but I want my clients, I want my students, those that connect with me and work with me, to know that I care. Like if life is lifing to you, tell me, because I know how to do anything, I'm gonna pray. I may
right,
not always have the
right.
words, but I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna encourage you. And those things go a long way. So when you're out here making connections, you have to nurture those relationships. Don't just make it so much about business. Because I tell you, every podcast interview, media interview I've ever had came from my connections. Every award I've ever won came from my connections. Somebody thought enough of me to be like,
Mhm.
I need to nominate her. But if I didn't take the time to just be like, what's up, girl? How's life? How's the kids? What's going on in your world? How's the family? Like none of those things would happen. So you can get further in life by your connections. The other thing I would say is don't be intimidated. Just because someone is ahead of you does not mean you should be intimidated. I think we think when we hear the word expert, we be like, oh my God, they got all this knowledge. They did this, they 20 feet ahead of me. And then no. To be an expert in anything means you're only 2 to 3 steps ahead of somebody. So it doesn't really mean that they're that further along. They're still learning and growing just like you. They just a little bit ahead of you, right? But
Right.
don't let that be the reason why you don't connect because you're intimidated. Because you never know. I really believe that all of us are one business partner away, one business bestie away, one collaboration away from making the money we want to make. But what stands in the middle of that is this fear or this thought process that if I connect, oh, they might not do me right. We got to stop bringing relationship baggage into other situations.
Mm,
Like, we all got it. Like, we all
right.
had friends that took advantage of us, people that didn't pay us. We all have it.
Right.
Like, we've all been there. But use that baggage as lessons. You see it as, okay, I know what not to do the next time I connect with somebody. I know what not to do the next time I go into a business relationship with somebody, right? And then be open to receiving what it is that God wants to give you because He really does want to give you everything you need. In fact, He's already given it to you. But are you taking advantage of the things that He is giving you? That's the key.
Mm. And and that's so true. And I think people forget too. They think, okay, because like you said, they had that one incident. Okay, well, everybody must be like this. No, everybody's not like that. And so when you see that, even if you made a new connection and you see that, you have the ability to disconnect.
Yep.
You don't have to keep going. You're like, okay, this is really not working. You're great at this, but it's just not what I need for my platform or for my audience. We're not going that way. And that's okay.
Yep.
And so I think too, just having that discipline to to say this is not working for me. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that person. Just like with relationships. Okay, me and Joe didn't work out, but Joe's not a bad person. He's for somebody, but just not for me.
Right.
So, you just have to and keep going till you find that one that is for you, that collaboration that works, that fits, and you're just like, oh, I can breathe, I can exhale now, you know.
Yeah.
And they're out there because there's a lot of people who are willing to make connections. There's a lot of people who want to collaborate because listen, sometimes it gets lonely. And
Mm-hmm.
so, that collaboration could be just that person, like you said, that prayer partner, or that just this person that you run ideas by. They don't even really have to be in the same industry as long as they're a support to what you're doing. And you know that you can get honest answers from them, that they're there to see you thrive, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's so key that they don't have to be in the same industry because I think a lot of times we want to connect with people that do what we do. And there's a space and place for that, right? Like I truly believe you should have a group of collaborators, somebody that's doing the same thing that you're doing, that can mentor you. But you should also have space and place for other people that don't do what you do. I can't tell you how many times somebody might come to me and be like, Leah, do you still help with writing books? Nope, but I got a list of people that do that I can send you to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what type of book you trying to write? Because then I know, and it's like having your own personal Rolodex of resources, people that you're
Yeah.
like, okay, if I know so and so need help with this, I can send them here. And that does not make you, it's not taking no money out of your pocket. It doesn't make you a bad person. I think that we are starting to see that people are stop having stingy energy because you can share your resources. I don't know where we got this thought that we have to gatekeep in order to keep things. Like if something is helping you take your life to a next level or business to a next level, why not share it? Now, I'm not saying give it all away because if you give it all away, then why should people pay you? But I will say that if you know the basic steps that someone needs to take to get started, share it. And then when they're ready for the advance, then that's when they come call you, get on your calendar, and y'all have a conversation and make them a client where they're
Right.
paying you for the advance. But we won't even give people the basics. We won't even give them the fundamentals. We won't even say this is the first step you need to take. We like, you need to come over here and pay me $3,000 and I'll tell it all to you. That don't make no sense because I clearly don't have the $3,000 because if I did, I would
Right.
step number one. So I
Right.
need step number one so I can figure out what to do and how to make money to get the $3,000 to come hire you.
And I'm not gonna give you $3,000 if I don't even know what you can do.
Exactly. So
So you got
that's
to
the
show
other
me a little
thing.
something.
That value piece. We got to get, like I tell anybody in any business you're in, you have to be giving value. You have to be sharing those little nuggets, those little gems. I can't tell you how many clients I've gotten because they saw something I posted on social media and I totally forgot because I schedule my content. So when you come to me and tell me you saw something, I'm like, you gotta
What
be
was
more
that?
specific because what was exactly that I post? Because I schedule out. But when people see it, then they're like, oh, I didn't know that. I need help with that. Let me go talk to Leah. That's how
Mhm.
you really position yourself to be an expert because you drop little nuggets. They call it seeding in the business world. You just start seeding. You drop little gems. You let people know, hey, I know more about this, and at some point, people will catch on. Here's the thing that I would say to any business owner: be prepared when people catch on. Because here's the thing that we do. That's why continuing to move is so important, even in seasons of healing and development. Because if your back end ain't ready, when people catch on and you start getting an influx of clients, but you ain't ready because you ain't got no landing pages, you ain't got no website, you ain't got no payment processor, you ain't got nothing, then you scrambling and you're frustrated when you could have been spending that time. My spiritual father always say it like this: preparation plus opportunity equals success.
Mhm.
When you spend time preparing, then when
Right.
the opportunity comes, when the influx of clients come, when God is like, all right, you ready now because you got everything in place. Now I can send them your way. Then you ready. Now you ain't got to stress. Now you ain't over here like, oh Jesus, I don't even know how I'm gonna get this person to pay for this. Where am I sending the invoice? Nope, all of that set up. So now all I got to do is, hey, this is what I do. This my price is my price. Hey, get at me when you're ready.
Right. Right. Listen, you have helped a whole lot of people because that is so true. Because you're right too. I think I've had that happen too. Like somebody come and they would ask me about something, but like about the platform and stuff, and I'm like, whew, I don't. Okay, I thought I was ready to help people, but no. And I got scared because I was like, I don't even know what I'm gonna tell them. But of course, I've come way away from that. But at first, I was like, oh my god, what? I don't know what to tell these people. I mean, I'm just going week by week myself. My guest for the day just canceled. Da 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 da. And before, and I say that all the time. Before that used to just tear my nerves. I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
can we do a rerun? I don't know what to say to these people. I don't have a guest, but through consistency, now I'm like, okay, well, Leah didn't show up. What? She must be sick. That's okay. So listen, we're gonna reschedule Leah and da 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 da. You just keep going. So
Yes,
it
ma'am.
really is a process. And so I think thank you for all the gems and nuggets you have shared today on this platform because I mean they have been very valuable. If you're listening to the replay, listen, share this video with somebody else. And I always tell people when I'm asking them to share the video, it's not just about me, but I try to bring guests on who are giving value. So share the video so as many people who can get the value can get it. And as many people can get this discount that they can before it run out.
Hello.
And so, Leah, tell us again how we can follow you, how we can find your books, and just all the things.
Yeah, so all my books is on Amazon under Leah M. Forney. I'm on all the social media platforms as Leah M. Forney, so definitely come kick it with me on social media. If you are in the podcasting space, whether you're new or just getting started or just seasoned and you just need a place to hang out with like-minded podcasters, you definitely want to come kick it over in Profitable Podcaster Society, which is my Facebook community. We definitely have fun over there. We're in the midst of a challenge right now, y'all. And when
Lord,
I tell you
yes.
the people are showing up, they are showing up. Alicia is one of them. Like I love seeing because I know what people need. And so I am teaching them really how to get their visibility up in 2023. And so definitely come kick it with us over there. And then you can always email me, info@leahmforney.com. I am on a mission to help 30 people this year become profitable podcasters. So definitely, if you are one of my 30, come holler at me. Let's have a conversation and how I can serve you and work with you, and you can work with me to get that done this year. So
Yeah, let's do it. You know, I was talking to a friend last night, and I be stealing people's stuff. So the women's conference coming up is free in 2023. Listen, no time like the present to get free
hmm
from, you know, stress and lack. I mean, you know, we have done the struggle trying to pay our bills, but we don't have to struggle like that anymore. We have so many opportunities and they come in so many different shapes and forms. You don't have to necessarily be a podcaster. Maybe you like being in the world, but you like maybe being an admin behind the scenes. Maybe you know you can help somebody with their
yeah,
podcast. It's so many different levels. So you do not have to struggle. You do not have to be in black. You do not have to be confused because there's so many people like Leah who are out there dropping nuggets and helping us along the way. So just do whatever it is you need to do. And if you're not sure, like she said, who to connect with, reach out to us. You know, we both have, you know, list of other people and resources so we can
yep,
help you along the way. So her info is, or her email is info at Leah, is Leah M40?
yep, leahmforney.com.
Info at leahm40.com. You know, we are info at aliciajohnson.com. You know, you can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram. We have now putting our YouTube channel and putting the shows on our YouTube. So you can send your followers there if you had a show. If you want to be a guest on the show, go to calendly.com/making connections TV if you'd like to be a guest. And we can make all this stuff happen. So listen, we're here every Saturday at 12 noon and every Monday at 2 p.m. Listen, we're making connections. So let's make it happen free in 2023. And so, Leah, thank you again for being with us. I'll definitely get that link from you so I can put it in the description of the video so people can go get this course and get their money up and get their
hmm
visibility up. And listen, maybe some of the people that you've helped this 30, you guys can come back towards the end of the year and talk about the journey.
Yeah, I'm always down.
Yes. All right. Well, check out her podcast, Hey Queen Thrive. And
Yeah.
that's it's started back up, right? January through September.
Yep. Season 3 just aired Thursday. So definitely go check it out. Yeah, it's crazy. 3 seasons in. But I'm gonna keep doing it until God tell me not to. So
Till he tell us to shift to something else.
exactly.
All right. Well, you guys have a great day. Be encouraged. You can do this. Everything that you need is on the inside of you. You just got to activate it. And so, as always, until next time, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a good day, everybody. Bye, Leah.